We're back again. 2024, dog. We're back. First episode. Welcome back to SportsDose, mate.
Yeah, geez, long overdue. It's a crazy start of the year. I'm glad you can start with Happy New Year because, like, after the 10th, people really need to stop saying Happy New Year. Like, compliments of the season, that can last until now. But everyone, like, oh man, like, you know how many times people I haven't seen out for the year, and it's like, hey man, Happy New Year. I'm like, you're almost on the first payday of the year. I don't have December thoughts in my head anymore. Like, you can't be saying Happy New Year. Like, we're past the 20th now.
Mate, I got one of those yesterday, and I also exactly the same as you. I was like, dog, come on, mate. Exactly what you said. I literally said the same thing. I was like, mate, payday. It's in a couple of days. We've already got mid-year stress pretty much. Now you wishing me Happy New Year. Like, that Happy New Year last pretty much 5 days. But, but Cooks, between you and I know it's been a good year for me, for you. You've been traveling a lot. Let's do a little bit of catch up, D, mate. You've been all around the country pretty much. I know you've been back in the gym. You're actually looking slim. You're looking good. So congrats there. I hope that it keeps up and it doesn't stop. You know, like everyone when they stop in Feb, you waste that money with sign up fee. But fill me in, mate. What's been happening?
Yeah, mad start to the year. Yeah, SA20. I mean, I've been all over the country. Obviously, season two of the Better SA20 just started. That's been an absolute mad dash. Just one big traveling circus. But like, I mean, especially that first week, I did the game in PE opening game. Fortunately, I got rained out. Then I was in Derbs, and the end of it got rained out, and then did Paul. And then yeah, I did Newlands. First game in Newlands a couple of weeks back. And then yeah, back in Durban this weekend. So yeah, it's been absolutely crazy with SA20. But what a tournament, eh? I mean, it's so just seeing people at stadiums, people just the vibe that the tournament brings, and it's such a great way to start the year. But and I actually went to a game on Saturday. Just first time I'd gone as actually just as a fan. I wasn't working or anything, so got to taste a few stadium beers, and then just got to experience the vibe and how amazing the tournament is, and just watching live sports and like how full it was. Joburg was absolutely pumping. The boring was, you've been there, you know how it is, but it was just seeing it so full Saturday night, great game of cricket. Yes, Team JSK got a win, but just such a great vibe, such a great atmosphere, and for me, it's been obviously the best way to start the year. Yeah, obviously trying to get in shape as everyone does in Jan, but yeah. Also,
So
it's been.
those stadium beers hit different with your mates, right?
No, it does. I think it does it different, and I think it's like it's just nice. It's just great to see people at stadiums. You go with mates, and what I love the most, planning the games for obviously for the SA20 and going down to the game on Saturday. Sorry, it was like on the Wednesday. I checked my mates. I'm like, hey, Oaks, I've got tickets. Who's keen? Oaks like, yeah, no, I've got tickets already. Okay, cool. Other groups, who's got tickets? Like, yeah, got tickets already. And that was the cool thing. How many people have bought in? And I've had random people message me like, "Hey, bro, I see you working. Are you coming to cricket? I'll be there." I'm like, "You at the cricket? Okay, interesting." But that's what the flipping the Better 20 has done, bro. And it's so sick that it's pulling people to the crowd. And the more people at the crowd, the more stadium beers are sold, the more chow we sold. And yes, it's such a vibe.
What I find interesting is what you just said, that people are messaging you with tickets. I think I've messaged you twice for tickets, and twice you've said, sorry, boy, I can't get you tickets. So I mustn't be on the favorites list.
No, you're asking me to give tickets to the Newlands. I'm in Joburg. I'm talking about like to the Wanderers where I'm going, or like a test match when I'm on holiday in St. Francis, and you're like, wait, I wish I could go to the Boxing Day test as well, which lasted a day and a half. But I mean, I was like, I wish I could go as well, but I don't have any tickets because the Boxing Day when I was off duty, so I was still not talking to anyone in Supersport. I was like, guys, I'm on holiday. I don't resting. I'll see you guys before the 20. So I was like, oh, I can't even get because I'm nowhere near Joburg. I was still in St. Francis at the time, and then I was like, now obviously the Newlands one, I wasn't in town, so that's why. Don't worry, on the favorites list. I only get some, and I was like, hey, Oaks, at least you want me to fly you up from Cape Town. Now I'm gonna give you a ticket. I'm gonna give you a plane ticket. Now I'm gonna put you in a hotel room. Like I can't do that.
Living. Mate, you didn't, well, as we obviously know, you didn't miss too much with that Newlands test, mate. It's one of those funny things. I had tickets for day 3 and day 4, mate. That's when it's meant to be jumping. That's when, mate, I had to beg tickets for day 2, and day 2 was only half a day. Like, I was there for like, what, 2, 3 hours,
half a
able to get.
half a day is an understatement. That thing was done in like that thing was done in one. Like lunch is delayed inevitable.
Honestly, it was just crazy. But yeah, mate, speaking of Newlands, obviously you in Joburg, I'm in Cape Town. I got to experience some real unbelievable live sport, yeah, in Cape Town over that December period, man. 3 Stormers games, the Newlands Test match, which was a T20, the King's Plate, there was paddle. It's just unbelievable, and it's just a follow on. Had this conversation with a couple of mates. I think as you and I and a handful of other people around South Africa, we absolutely love going to live sports events. It's just one of those
Mm.
things. You like being in the crowd. You like just being involved with the emotion and everything. Cooks, it's just seriously unbelievable to have it back, especially in Joburg. Wanderers being, as you said, a top place. Me growing up there, mate, I didn't miss a cricket game at the Wanderers. I didn't miss. It is just an unbelievable place. And then obviously here in Cape Town, you get the Newlands Test. It was a dream for me to come to the Newlands Test, and then the Stormers doing their 1 point things over the festive period, mate. How good was that? Cheapers. The Stormers are doing their thing slowly as well, Cooks.
No, they did. They had a fantastic December break. I think unbeaten at home. I think won all the games at the DHL Stadium. So yeah, it was good rugby as well. I think that's one thing I loved about December. The break I had is I may have been sort of on social media and then took time off, but I actually got more time to actually watch some rugby. And these Stormers were good. The Stormers Bulls game was an absolute cracker. I'm still gutted I missed the Stormers La Rochelle game, but with the way this weird funky Championship Cup draw. They're gonna play again in the round of 16. So I can now have to go and find a way to go and watch them, watch that game. But I think that's the only thing I missed in the holidays was last year. Last year December break. I got to catch Stormers Bulls in DHL Stadium. The only thing missing was obviously going down to Cape Town and seeing the Stormers play at the DHL. But I think I'll go down in the year. But I think next year December I need to balance it more and sort of find my way down to Cape Town again.
Mate, I totally agree. It's just a vibe. We're gonna touch on rugby, but mate, let's start with what happened on Sunday. I know that half of South Africa was. It's not right how hyped we were on Sunday morning, mate. I was wearing my watch. My watch had my heart rate at about 140 at 7 a.m. in the morning, mate. It's not meant to be there, but dog. Let's talk about Dricus, man. He did his job. He got the title. It was a title defense for Sean Strickland, and mate, 1 point, mate. You can see that Dricus has been spending time around the box because he did it. What an atmosphere! What a time for South Africa, mate.
No, 100%. I mean, South Africa was a big day. I mean, Sunday was a big day for us in South Africa. I mean, we'll touch on the Bafana Bafana later, but it was just so cool to see how many people actually woke up and how many people were how many people are so invested in just in Dricus, but for me just obviously just because he's South African, we want to see him fight, and guys got up, and it reminded me of the Mayweather Pacquiao fight when everyone woke up early, but then no one knew how sort of how boxing promotions work, so everyone got up at 5. They're like, "What's somebody's Dricus fight?" And they're like, "No, the card starts at 5." So everything was like, oh, guys, and like friends saying to me like, what time is the actual fight going to start? I'm like, you can't tell because the other fights could go by so quickly, or they could go long, so it's hard for you to tell. And then someone's like, yo, why don't you let the Jews will fight at 8? I'm like, guys, it doesn't work that way. You just watch the card. But it was just so cool. But I mean, I think tight fight, tight fight. I thought that Dricus for me was the right winner. I thought Dricus had done enough in the middle rounds. I know Shaw Strickland came back firing in round 5, which sort of scared me. But I mean, I think the level of stress I had when the judges were announcing the scores, I was sitting there and I was like, "Well," I almost felt like the same pressure it was watching the World Cup final, all those 1 point games. That and felt just so stretched and stretched, and you just like to say and you, say and you, say and you. But I think the impact of it is going to come through the now in the next couple of months, and I think we already have Cameron Simon also in the UFC, but now look at things like the EFC. I think more people want to be so start paying more interest in it because they want to see who's going to be the next Dricus, who's going to be the next Cameron Simon, who are the guys coming through. If you're an MMA gym now's the perfect time to be because people will be like, you know what, I think should come in.
Guys are there.
Yeah, guys are.
Guys are
But no, that's
involved.
epic. No, epic. Just to see a South African UFC champion, world champ is incredible. Like, watching those Dricus press conferences, I mean, besides his face looking like you can see him, man was been through a war. But like just seeing the belt and him having the belt just looked so amazing because he went just from oh cool, there's a guy in the UFC from South Africa to oh shit, we actually have a UFC champion, we have a UFC world champion. Like because I remember the other fights you'd come in fight very early in the cards and we'd be like oh how cool is it to have someone just in the UFC. We just love just having someone in the UFC where you pop it. But now to actually have a world champion, the sport's gonna grow. Tough time to be Dricus's bank manager because you're working with funds overload. But but I'm so stoked for the man. But I mean, what do you think of the fight?
Yeah, Cooks, exactly what you said, man. I think that Sean Strickland started the way that I think that his team spoke that they wanted to do. Both of them are forward fighters, mate. And I mean, we can't lie. Sean caught Dricus in that first round, mate, just jabbing through. And he
Yeah,
was on the front.
those jabs are solid.
They
Yeah.
were bad. They caught him. And for some particular reason, he was on the up because Sean obviously won round one. He definitely
Mm.
won round one. Mate, and then in 2 and 3, all of a sudden, and I don't know, Cooks, if this is like championship mindset, mate, where you almost go back to your defense. So all of a sudden now, Dricus is on the front foot. He's catching with a couple of overhands kicks. I mean, there was one kick that in the second round that Dricus gave Sean, mate, it echoed in my lounge. Things started going like this. Mate, my girlfriend even woke up. She was like, "Ooh, what happened there?" Like that's how loud it was. So I've just got a feeling, and I'd love to hear what you think about it. So Sean's on the upper hand. Then in round 2 and 3, mate, he starts backtracking a little bit. Dricus is going. So 2, 3, 4. Dricus has the upper hand, and then only in 5 you actually hear Sean Strickland's team. They literally say to him, "Mate, we need this round." Then all of a sudden he goes back onto the offensive side, and I mean that's where I got a little bit worried. I won't lie; those last 30 seconds, it was just like it was a championship mindset of like a Floyd Mayweather, for example, or Israel Adesanya, where he's more on the back foot. He's finding his jabs. I just think maybe they got the tactics wrong. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, it was interesting to hear his corner saying we need this fight. I think we need this round because you could definitely tell the middle of the round, especially around 2 and 3, sort of. I mean, round 4 definitely was sort of went Dricus' way, but 2 and 3 sort of tight. But then you just felt like Dricus was on the offensive. He was pressing, and I just thought 3 and 4 was for me definitely Dricus' round. 2 was still a little bit tight, but then I do think also for me what I found interesting was Dricus' approach because everyone going into the fight was saying he can't last 5 rounds. He's the type of guy. He can't last 5. It doesn't like. I mean, Sean was saying he does have a chin, but we're not sure. We're gonna test it out. I mean, he walked through those jabs that Sean Strickland was throwing all day, and there were some proper overhead punches that Sean Strickland threw proper shots that Dricus just wore, that he wore and he took, and it just shows the resilience. And I think a part of Strickland there's a part of me thought we could actually take this guy to the deep waters. You should actually taper off as the fight goes. But Dricus is just getting stronger and stronger, especially from 2, 3, 4. Well, obviously it gets. I mean, sure it could be nerves as well, but it gets into the fight. And Sean Strickland is a great fighter as well. But a part of me still thinks that the Strickland camp did not think Dricus can go deep into, championship rounds. And the deeper it went, they were like, Jesus, Oak's still here. This Oak is still standing because, as Dricus says, they didn't know what Dricus knew. So that was just like, this Oak is still standing.
Oh, sir.
And then you sort of could see, and Strickland sort of went back on the approach, but knowing Dricus is not a man to stand back. That last minute, it was in 30 seconds, it got wild because there was a stage, they were just throwing shots. There was no jabbing anymore. They were just also just like throwing shots. I was like, what? All the structure went, but like, for Dricus, for me, that's probably like, I just love seeing the way he won that fight because it wasn't like the normal, say, boom, 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 knockdown, get an in a submission, or sort of like rally back. You could see the structure, you can see the team put together such a great game plan. And also, it took away all those darks. Remember when Dricus, the Whittaker fight, he had that surgery on his nose, and he was like, listen, now I can breathe a lot better. I think all the Americans were like, oh, we'll see. And now he's proven that. He's gone 5 rounds, his first ever 5-round fight, and he went the distance and won against Sean Strickland. So the man is getting better and better with each fight. So, and now he sits at the top, and the question is, Senna, who does he fight next? I mean, obviously, he mentioned Izzy. Alex Pereira tweeted that, maybe one last run at it's a middleweight. I mean, there's comes out. He's also threw it out. UFC 300 is around the corner. I think I'm worried it's a little too quick of a turnaround. It's got to be Adesanya, right?
It's got to be Adesanya, but Cooks, so I don't know if you saw, Israel always does these lives on YouTube, right? And he watched other fighters and him in his camp. And basically one guy in his team said, well, that was the shortest title defense ever. And then everyone started laughing. Now, my thing is, mate, and I'll be the first to admit, and you know this, Izzy's my dog. I love Izzy. I've been a number one Izzy day one supporter of Izzy, mate, for a really long time. Obviously, Dricus, he's touched my heart, South African. But I think that Izzy has to go back to Sean Strickland, mate. That's personally what I think needs to happen. I think that Dricus needs to just chill, mate. Hold on to that belt a little bit. Come bring it to South Africa. Show it off a little bit. I know 300 is a massive thing, Cooks, but I think we just hang on to it. Israel has had a good break now. He can literally pretty much decide if he wants to give the go-ahead, if Dricus really doesn't want him. But, mate, Strickland pummeled Adesanya, pummeled Izzy. So it's almost like it's those three that are competing for number one.
Yeah.
And now Sean Strickland's lost. Mate, Sean Strickland, I read his after-fight thoughts. And, I mean, Sean Strickland's very outspoken. And I get it. I respect it. I like it. But he tries to turn the fight around and say that Dricus headbutted him. Okay? Which in theory, he caught him. But, mate, it was Dricus's overhand that caught him and cut his eye. The head slip that got him just like made it a little bit worse. But to answer your question, mate, I would like Dricus to hold on to the belt a little bit. I really would. Let him just be chill.
100%.
Maybe, I don't know, UFC 302, maybe something along those lines. And then, Cooks, it's that question where, mate, is Dana White actually going to bring something to, well, I want to say South Africa, but Africa. If it ends up in Africa, it needs to be here. Are we going to get something, mate?
I think I'll start on the who's to fight next. I think the big one, the money fight, is Adesanya Dricus, right? I think obviously Adesanya took time off after the Strickland fight, and I do think so. My camp also is I do think Strickland deserves a rematch. It was a good fight. I mean, his decision tends to be a rematch, so I wouldn't be surprised to see if Dricus fights 3 times this year. He maybe goes easy next, probably 300. If it is 300, easy next, and then maybe. If you beat Izzy, then you're looking at a Strickland Dricus fight again, or obviously depending what happens in the Izzy Dricus fight, maybe it's an absolute humdinger. We got to go again. So I think that sort of is the pathway it's going. I don't think Alex Pereira needs to come back to. Needs to come back. He's fine in the light heavyweight. He can dominate. For me, Pereira only wanted Easy. Came for Easy, did his business. Now, obviously, when Easy finally beat him, but he can carry on. If UFC does come to Africa, it's got to come to South Africa, right? Because you have Dricus here, and I think if they ever wanted to, so I thought first that Dana White first sort of missed out an opportunity to bring it back because, say, when Ngannou or Usman or Izzy at the champ, especially like Usman and Ngannou. I know Usman
Yeah.
and Izzy vow to never fight each other, but man, if I'm Dana White, I'm sitting in a room and be like, guys, can we find a way here? Take this to
Mate,
Nigeria.
and it will be
Look at the
worth
money
it.
you
It
could
will
have
just
made.
be there. Cheapers.
And I think, but I think that's something maybe, or for example, take one of the Usman fights to Nigeria, but you see changes. Leon Edwards catches Usman, now he's a complete different fighter. Usman is fighting for his life now. I mean, and who knows where he's going, but I think now Dana has to bring him to South Africa. But the issue we're facing is what it looks like is, UFC doesn't do stadiums, and we have a shit ton of stadiums but not many arenas. Like,
Correct.
the Granus in Cape Town is there, but I don't think it's big enough. The Sunbed Arena in Pretoria is here, but I don't think it's big enough. We had the Dome, but now it's We Buy Cars. So we can't take away We Buy Cars because, I mean, they're sponsoring the Blitzbooker. The Blitzbooker need to you go on tours and stuff, so you can't take away We Buy Cars. But I
We
think
can't.
I think that's I think that's something we're gonna find. Because I mean, like, it's so frustrating. Because I mean, like, we do need to find. I think in South Africa, someone who's got us. It's hard, but like, we need to put funds together. Someone has got. If I was Dana White, for example, here's what I'm thinking. For example, is get a few sponsors, UFC sponsors. You see the growth in someone like Dricus. There's a gap in the market. Get a UFC, few partners. You're gonna build, like I say, UFC stadium or indoor arena, 15,000 you can use for other events. But then within there, there's a UFC training compound or UFC training facility, sort of growing that sport in South Africa. Or maybe to the point where there's guys in Africa who are good who can actually you know what? So it's like training there. You come down and train in South Africa. So you're using the UFC money to sort of build an arena, but then you also with it there's a compound where UFC started growing in South Africa because we can see this is another market that they can target. We know they're doing in Brazil. We know they're doing in Dagestan there with the Russians. But now you're adding a South African element or African element where you see, okay, cool, you can have the guys in Nigeria, Cameroon, or you have the guys in Southern Africa. But that can be their base here in South Africa, sort of building something like that and starting something now while you have the hype of Dricus, while you have a South African champion, UFC can sort of build something like that because the hard part is I don't know how they're going to do it because obviously I think they're so worried about the external factors of a stadium, weather, and if it rains, you're also gonna fight in the rain. So it's like like weather and all that, and sort of and if you're sitting in the bleachers, you can't see shit at the bottom. You know what I mean? It's all those things where you want to be close and be able to hear. So I think that's the thing we got to fight for. It's we on the on the verge of getting these events like UFC, Formula One, like Kyle Army still needs to fix a lot of things. So like we're on the verge, so we just need to get that last bit of things, unfortunately, because mate, it's got to come down here. Trickers, you have to fight at home. You have to come and fight at home.
Mate, we had Kevin Arena at the end of last year, and now don't misinterpret what I'm saying. Boxing and fighting has generally always been good in our country, but it's the first time where the social media aspect has been so big, and it's easy to promote. It's easy to gain followers of a sport, etc., etc. Kevin Arena's about to break in. We spoke to him. He's got massive plans. He literally wants to fight in March. I saw a tweet from him. I think it was yesterday that let's run a fight in Cape Town in, I think he said June, July, around there. So he's planning two fights, one in Saudi Arabia and then one here. What you were speaking about earlier about getting someone on board, mate, and just understanding that there's a massive opportunity to build that base. It can be almost a boxing, because Kevin fights at Monte Casino, mate. So you can almost get that a sponsor to come in and almost host two events, whether it's boxing, whether it's UFC. Then you get the guys or every other African fighter involved. mate. And then if it is in Cape Town, Cooks, you're competing with I'm not going to say Las Vegas, but you're competing with Cape Town's not a bad place to come for a weekend to spend a week. It's just good. So we just need, mate, we need someone on board. But Dricus has done his bit for us. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens going forward. And then Cooks, mate, we can't forget, mate, Bafana Bafana also did something for us on Sunday, mate, just repping the flag. So we had to go from Dricus in the morning. It was probably like a 12-hour delay. And it was a little bit iffy after what happened with Marley. We weren't too confident. As I always say, the support is there. The support will never die out. But, mate, Bafana did their thing. Cooks, we're in the running, Tunisia. But, yeah, just your thoughts on Bafana, mate.
Yeah, I thought they're very good, eh? Obviously very sketchy first half. I mean, obviously Shaolile from Namibia had a few chances against It's basically we're basically watching Sundowns at a stage because we had eight players from Sundowns in our starting team. Then we played against Shaolile, who's flipping Foster from Sundowns from Namibia. So I mean, he was basically going against his teammates. Maybe he did Ronan Williams a favor by not scoring that first chance because it was Ronan Williams' birthday. But just great to get 3 points. But like to get 3 points and the 4 goals, I think that's the most important thing to put in the performance. And I love the fact that we put the game away early. Obviously, yes, we missed a few chances, but to go into halftime at 3-0 sort of ease the mood in the second half, as opposed to it's 0-0 or 1-0, and we're just not putting away chances. But yes, we still missed a few chances. We can always get more clinical, but I just love the fact that we've left the last game in our own hands. Tunisia has been struggling even up and down. A draw should still be good enough for us because obviously best third place finisher. But at least we'll know we beat Tunisia, we're done, we go through. Not this bring out the calculators because you have 1 point and now you're gonna win by 3 and hope that someone else wins and hope that just win on Wednesday. That's it. Just win on Wednesday. Job done. We do the next one. And we have a favorable draw that we can sneak our way to a semi-final. So that's that's the thing. But I just want to say, like, I know Bafana obviously has hurt us in the past, and there's certain fans who watch and go like, oh, but back in the day, just sometimes I just think in tournaments, just forget about everything else. Just fuck everything else. Yes, it's this mess at Safa. Now let's just focus. Just get behind the Ultimate Wednesday night. Just get there, get behind them. That's our focus. That 90 minutes, we can deal with the rest later. Right now, we just get the support. Just make sure we get through to the next round, and we fight for public holidays here. This is what we're going to get in them. That's the. I don't know why people are relaxing. So I want South Africa. This is actually a message, guys. South Africa, I hope you listen to me. Get behind all our sports teams because if they win, we get public holidays. Dricus, we are waiting for Dricus Day. Cyril, we are waiting for Dricus Day. If we win the AFCON, we are waiting for AFCON Day. And so the more we get behind our teams, the more public holidays we actually get. If you don't trust Bafana, put your trust away. Trust public holidays. That's all you need. What else is playing this year? Is the Olympics this year? For every gold medal, public holiday. You know what I mean? So we need to stop.
World Cup, public holiday.
Public holiday. So we need to stop. That's our new focus now. The box has showed us the way that if we get behind our teams and they win World Cups, public holidays. So even if you don't like sports, I know for a fact this country loves public holidays.
No, I know, and you got to give on public holidays. Cooks, mate. AFCON's a funny tournament, mate. AFCON is really funny. The amount of just funny bloopers that happen and everything like that. But mate, we haven't had a tournament like this where basically, I mean, Ivory Coast gone, host nation.
Hey.
Gone are the days of Drogba, Yaya Toure, Solomon Kalou. Gone are those days. So those guys are gone, mate. Then you got Egypt, who are also always competing for the AFCON. Mate, they just qualified, 3 draws, and Mohamed Salah's injured. So obviously you've got a couple of sides who are playing really well. But, mate, there's a chance for Mzansi here, for Bafana. I'm not going to say, mate, we're never ever going to play the most attractive football or anything like that. But what I do want to say is, and it's big credit to Hugo Broos, what he did, the tactics that we went from the Mali game of trying to just play short passes, build the triangles, and then all of a sudden going long on Sunday, mate, it made a massive difference. It played in. So you can definitely see that the coaching staff is there, mate. They're invested, and you never know what can happen here. A couple of lucky bounces. Maybe we just got to get through to the players as well that we're hoping for the public holiday, and then we could get something going there. But mate, it's big credit, and this AFCON is wide open. There's a massive opportunity here.
No, 100%. Wait, Senna, do you mind if you pause? I need to go to the bathroom. I'm like been holding in for the last 10 minutes. I'm like, I don't want to burst. I'm gonna run quickly.
Okay. Cooks, we have all these massive teams struggling at AFCON. I mean, Ghana's media didn't even want to allow the players to leave. We've got Algeria struggling. We've literally got just massive teams that we're so accustomed to here in Africa doing well, and they're struggling a little bit. And I think this is what makes South Africans. It's probably the hope that kills us, but there is a little bit. We're working with something here, mate. A bounce of a ball, a couple of lucky decisions, and as I said, coaching, mate. We could be in the money here.
No, 100%. I think so as well. I mean, it's been a tournament where Equatorial Guinea put 4 past Ivory Coast, basically sent them home. So anything can happen here. I think you're right because, I mean, obviously Senegal and Morocco are probably looking the strongest, and Morocco still holding on that form from obviously going to the semi-final in 2022 of the FIFA World Cup. But like, we do have a gap. There's a gap there. I think we should not just get out of our own way. So I'm definitely excited, and I do think that Bafana has a chance. But I'm not going to get too far ahead. But so that's the hope that kills us. But talking about hope that kills us, we had a good festive. Liverpool a good December/January. I mean, also flying top of the table now. I mean, Salah obviously decided to get injured, so he can come into his rehab in England, which doesn't. But it's fine as long as he's not playing football on 31st of Jan against Chelsea. He can do whatever he wants. But how are you feeling? You believing yet, or is the return of KDB still lingering in the back of your head?
Of course it lingers, Cooks, mate. You know, we have these conversations all the time. It lingers. And I remember in that festive period, I think it was our last show of last year, I said to you, I was like, if Liverpool can just fight that little festive period, take advantage of KDB being injured, Haaland being injured, I think we could push onto something just because City won the treble last year. And I'm being honest, I said it to you. I don't think the hunger is there. I know they've been in this situation so many times, but it's not like you can just see what is currently happening at Liverpool. Mate, we pretty much have the whole team injured. Literally, we do. Soboslai, mate, there's like 8 guys injured. But what is happening is it's next man up. Jurgen Klopp is just bringing next man up. And they're doing the bit. The one thing that's concerning me a little bit, and it's weird because we're top of the league, it is our form against the top 6. So off the top of my head, I mean, in the festive period, we drew against United, we drew against Arsenal. I remember at the beginning of the season, we drew against Chelsea 1-1. We obviously lost to Spurs 2-1, and then we drew to City 1-1. So we haven't been able to get a W against the top 6. That needs to change now going into the second half of the season because, as you said, KDB is going to come back. Haaland's going to score goals eventually. He's going to be back. Mate, it's going to be every game for Liverpool supporters a final. I know it sounds, I got asked this question the other day. Would you rather take the Premier League or would you take the Carabao Cup? Would you take the FA Cup and the Europa? Mate, I'm a Liverpool supporter. Without a shadow of a doubt, we take the Prem because it's the holy grail. Mate, do you think Liverpool can do it, Cooks?
I think so. I mean, I think you're the only one that can match City in terms of like the runs you go on. I mean, what's that? You've unbeaten the last 32 Premier League games. I mean, you guys going in silly runs. I mean, you lost a game this season, and I think what's hurting you is the fact that you kept some City in punches, Charles, because of not being able to put away the big side. And those silly draws, and you've been down those paths where draws have actually, it's not the losses, it's the draws that have actually hurt you. And I
Yeah,
think,
yeah,
and I think you guys are obviously always equipped. I think it has become a tough round because obviously you got us on the coming Wednesday, which I mean, yes, it is at Anfield, so I think it's a game that you definitely should be talking to get a win there. I mean, you should beat us at Anfield, but I think it's like again, but we know we love our draws, so that's the last thing you need. And I
you
think the
do.
biggest threat at the moment is, I said this during the holidays, that I don't think City has hit their stride yet, and they I mean, they're 5 points, but I mean, obviously bear in mind the game in hand. They they 5 points of the game in hand away from the top of the table. So no one's actually pulled away from them as well as you should have. Like, I look back when you also won the league title. You started off like a house on fire at the beginning, and you sort of blew past everyone. By the time you got to January, City was about a 15 points behind you guys. You guys just blew past everyone. And I think now with Man City is when you keep them in the hunt here, because I genuinely think Man City gets bored at the start of the season, and I think that the season comes alive now when it's okay.
The
This
money
because
in,
I
mate.
saw this, and I saw there's a sign in a gym that says, one of the documentaries they put up, there's a sign in the gym that says, no Premier League club has won the Premier League 4 years in a row, 4 seasons in a row,
Okay.
dot 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 yet. So it's like, I think now it's
Oh,
with with
oh.
their guys coming back, Haaland comes back, you'll feel like a new signing. Doku's back, De Bruyne's coming in and out, and obviously now they've got this weird little break, which I don't know what is going on with this world's longest game week, where it's just like there's just this break now in between. So like this guys now obviously this break, and the City thing scary. That's the scariest part. But I do think that you guys, not like Arsenal or Villa, are best equipped to deal with that or that with that man. Because I think you can go blow for blow with Man City. I don't think Arsenal can. Villa, I don't think Villa can. But it's how everyone else reacts like Man City. Because that's my thing. Once Haaland gets back, they go back to full tilt, and this is the time now. Championship rounds where they come alive, and there's certain players for them. I think City is probably disappointed because of like Kwabi at all. It's not Kwabi hasn't been what they wanted. But again, like you look at someone like Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden having unbelievable seasons under the radar, sort of carrying the
Yeah.
fort without all the guys that lost last year. They've been losing the Gundos and guys like that, without KDB, without Haaland, but they come back.
And then guys like
You know,
Foden step up, man. Guys like Foden,
hundred
those
percent.
guys also just
So
world
that
class, man.
So that's what I think they've done well to keep themselves in the fight. I think that's the big testament. I thought when they were it's at the weekend when they went to Club World Cup, and I think you drew to Arsenal. Villa fell off. Villa beat Arsenal and they lost that shit. So that time they were away, no one actually pulled away from them. They got back. They were
Yeah.
like, "Oh, geez, a game in hand. We actually be in second place." So that's that's the interesting part. I think it's going to go down to the wire, especially with you guys again. But Jesus, close. But I definitely think York's stand a very good chance.
Speaking of, and I've touched base a little bit about coaching, I just do want to give like Jurgen Klopp a little bit of credit because you watch every game, mate. A lot of the time, we actually have started off games relatively slow. So we go like 1-0 down. And then as a Liverpool supporter, you literally sit there and you're like, oh, shit, this is the game where you're going to lose 1-0 at Anfield. And then all of a sudden at halftime, he just regroups, gets the group together, makes a couple of changes if need be, and then we're able to sneak a win. And I said it to you, mate, the minute Darwin Nunez starts scoring is when I really start believing that we can win the league because it's chaos ball. It's literally chaos ball. So yeah, I mean, Cooks, let's play it out. It's not going to be the first time. It's not going to be the last time we're going to speak about this. I do just quickly want to mention, Cook's been following the Bundesliga at all, mate?
Yeah, geez, I have. Xabi Alonso is absolutely flying. I mean, I'm still unbeaten in all competitions. 7 points clear now of the game. I mean, I know Bayern's got a game in hand, but they
Game in
fell.
hand,
They
yeah.
they dropped points on the weekend, which was huge. Jeez, but I think what he's doing with Leverkusen and the football they're playing as well is amazing. So shit, I mean, like they're in a situation where they can mess up the apple carts there and make sure that Bayern Munich doesn't win a Bundesliga. It's been a long time since Bayern's won a Bundesliga, and the thing is, like, 7 points is massive because they're not dropping games. So that's the thing, like they're not losing. So it's like the more Bayern Munich mess around, the more it's like, yeah, you can make a run, but they're not losing games. So I mean, Xabi Alonso, I mean, a nice little. I know it's obviously it was at Real Madrid B, but I mean, this is a nice little welcome to the world, and Flip Nock is showing that maybe he's ready for the next step. Or
Cooks, is this Xabi Alonso coaching or is this the Harry Kane curse?
he's a bit of a geez, Harry Kane is cursed. Because the Bundesliga now he's in a 7 points behind. Like you think where he's going to come in and waltz into a Champions League. And shame, the poor Oak is absolutely balling at the moment. Even he's been balling at the moment. Oak's got goals for
Mate,
fun, but
he's scoring left, right, and center.
I mean, I cannot believe he's definitely. I think it's 60% Xabi Alonso, 40% Harry Kane, and now he's bringing other people, other Spurs guys there as well. Dyer, Trippier. That's what they did the
Mate,
weekend because he's bringing his other specialists and failures with him to come like, hey guys, let's make sure we come sink Bayern Munich.
bro, it's absolutely insane. And I genuinely do feel, I'm actually starting to feel sorry for him. But Cooks, would you potentially like to see Xabi Alonso at Chelsea, or is that down the line maybe a little bit?
I think his next job is Real Madrid. I think he's being groomed to take over Real Madrid. Obviously, started his coaching career at Real Madrid B. I think once Carlo Ancelotti's gone, that's where Xabi's going. And would I love him? I don't know, not yet. I think obviously it all depends. I mean, winning a Bundesliga, what I don't wanna fall in, like the Eric Ten Hag sort of trap where young manager does well, young team playing attractive football, which is amazing. But let him first do it for 2, 3 more years, if that makes sense. But I genuinely think the reason why I'm not getting too hyped up about him going anywhere else is I do think that his next job is Real Madrid. Because I think Real Madrid obviously sort of allowing him to go to Bayern to get the experience and sort of you go learn, coach. I think obviously it's sped up they probably didn't think this would happen, but now I think Real Madrid's like, okay, once Carlo goes and whenever Carlo's, because I can't see Carlo actually getting fired unless I say, okay, Carlo, it's time for you to retire, mate. Listen, I don't know what more you can do. Then I think he comes back, or unless I mean, I can't see Klopp going. I think Klopp's not going anywhere. So I think for me, the only club that could potentially see me is, say, Real Madrid or Liverpool, or if Man United pull the trigger and be like, listen, exciting project, coming Man United. But I think if I'm Xabi Alonso, for like a second, third year, probably as a full-time sort of, well, second year, like say in top flight football, I'm not going nowhere near the United job. Nowhere near that job.
Mate, you know why I'm laughing here? Because all I can hear, literally all I can hear, is how much you love Poch. That's all I can hear. You are trying to defend Poch.
No. It's not about defending Poch. I'm just saying is, would you hire him in Liverpool? Would you take Xabi Alonso if he wins the league now? Would you take him in Liverpool now?
I would not take him at Liverpool now. No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. But I'm just looking at it from a perspective of, so it really is something very similar to what happened when Liverpool got Jurgen Klopp, right? So remember what happened. He did his bit at Borussia Dortmund. Xabi Alonso, Jose Mourinho said it the other day. You just need to look at how Xabi Alonso was as a player first and foremost, and then who he's been coached by. Okay, so mate, he's won titles everywhere on the planet. He was arguably one of the better technical midfielders of his generation. Then he's gone to be coached by Rafa Benitez, a tactical genius. Then he's gone to Carlo Ancelotti. Then he's gone to Pep Guardiola when he was at Bayern Munich. And what I'm just trying to say is very rarely is there a Jurgen Klopp opportunity at the table where one of the better up-and-coming managers are probably going to be available at the end of the season. And he probably is because, mate, the football that these guys are playing, I would say between Girona and Bayern Leverkusen, between those two, you can decide. Those two teams are playing the most attractive brand of football literally around. And I'm including Liverpool in that because we just play chaos ball. But come the end of the year, you guys, mate, it looks like Chelsea are going to finish in and around 7, 8, like around there. You're not giving too much. Do you give Poch that opportunity again? Or is it a situation of, mate, there is the next young coach available who's just won a Bundesliga title? And I know I'm jumping to conclusions, but hypothetically, let's say he's won the Bundesliga. Is it an opportunity of Chelsea pursuing Xabi Alonso?
No, I wouldn't.
No.
I still would. I still would take Poch. We have
Hey, you love Poch,
got
right? You
no,
love
but the thing,
Poch.
it's not about loving Poch. I'm just saying, like, I watched like Nagelsmann come second with Leipzig and push Bayern Munich, and then everyone's like, he's the next big thing. Goes to Bayern Munich, was okay. I mean, won the Bundesliga. Now he's obviously coaching the German national side, but he's falling away. But what I'm saying is with Xabi Alonso, before I want him to go to like a Chelsea job, is when say do this for a couple more seasons. You know, like as opposed to then going from there and then going straight to Chelsea. And yes, the brand of football is exciting. I mean, I think it would be good. We have improved under Poch. The way we play, we press better, we create more chances, and yes, there's a lot of things in terms of this because you can't finish. That's our biggest glaring problem. You can't finish, but there is improvement in that you can see, and that's the frustrating thing is because of not finishing. But you know, we do finish 7 or 8. I don't think we should sack the manager because we look at Poch's record of every team he's gotten. This is how he started everywhere, and then from seasons 2, 3, 4, they've actually all got improved significantly. So that's why with Poch, I think you got to at least give him 2 seasons. You can't let him set a foundation and you fire him after his foundation. It's like, so now we start again now. So then Xabi Alonso must set his own foundation. He wants his own players. So I think with Xabi Alonso that I don't want to rush into already going like, oh, 1 super season in the Bundesliga, now you're ready. Because look at Klopp, for example. He had won 2 Bundesligas and gone to a Champions League final. When he got available, and it's like, okay, cool, here's probably the next big thing. And you could see what he's doing there already. But he at least had set and left Dortmund and built almost like a powerhouse that could compete against Bayern Munich. So I'm saying Xabi Alonso, do the same thing for over 3-4 year period. For him, that's what I would do in terms of rushing into the next job. Build something of a powerhouse, build a thing, and then going, okay, now I've set this foundation up, yeah, then I can go. Because again, you're not falling the Ten Hag trap of Champions League semi-finals. This is Frankie de Jong, Ziyech, all those guys that star-studded Ajax side that knocked out Real Madrid, Juve. Who could say arguably were doing better than what some of those guys are looking crazy. Now those it looks like a Ponzi scheme now. Because Ziyech obviously he's left, and then De Ligt now wants to leave Bayern, he wants to leave. I mean, De Jong is the only one holding on, but he's fighting with Barca for money. Ten Hag is doing Ten Hag things at United. It's a mess. It was like a whole Ponzi scheme that happened there. So that's what I'm saying with Xabi Alonso is I'd love for him to first set a great foundation at Bayern Leverkusen and then from there sort of look for the next. If I was him, like put yourself in a way you can actually target your next job. Like look at Klopp, for example. Like when he left Dortmund, he left Dortmund. He looks at the landscape, sort of going, could be a decent jobs around. Brendan Rodgers is here. There's a mess. You know, Chelsea could change managers at any time. Real Madrid could drop managers at any time. At that time, anyway, I mean, Mourinho still Real Madrid, but he could leave at any time.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, now like, and if you look at like, someone like Alonso, you can go, that's interesting. Klopp may not want to be there at Liverpool, say he may sign an extension for 2-3 years, but he goes, I wonder if he still want to be in the same project 4 years time. Maybe over 10 years been in charge. Real Madrid could be waiting. I wonder if Pep actually is Pep really gonna carry on? What's Pep's next challenge? Put yourself in a position where you can go, this is what I've done at Bayer Leverkusen. I've Champions League runs, maybe 1 or 2 Bundesligas and going, okay, if Pep goes, I want to go to Man City. You know what I mean? Put yourself in that sort of running.
I like it.
Where
I seriously like what you're saying, mate.
You saw in demand, but you're also going, as opposed, because for example, like he could go, let's say he goes to Chelsea, right? Hypothetical. Sorry, I've been rambling, but hypothetical. He goes to Chelsea. What happens if he becomes sick next season? Then we sack him. Right? We're going to improve. Yeah. What's his next job after that? He's not going from Chelsea, going to go to Real Madrid.
Yeah. No,
So
mate,
you look,
I like it. I like what you've just said, seriously. And I didn't even look at it from that perspective. And now that you've mentioned it, it's probably even, mate, seriously, even if Chelsea did come knocking, now from his perspective, it's probably what you just said. You got to look at that and be like, maybe that's not the right choice. The money might be there for me. I might earn a great salary, but if I could potentially win one or two more extra Bundesligas, competing in the Champions League, stuff like that, Pep runs out, Klopp runs out. Yeah, I mean, no, I hear you. One thing to finish this, Cooks, is I just need to be loved one day the way that you love golf and potch. Mate, then I'm sorted. Then I'm sorted. But
I do love
Cooks too.
Fortress is my guy. I mean, I'm just backing him. No, man, like I don't know. The thing is, like,
You have
here's
to.
my
You have to.
no,
You
but
have to.
I say this to, like, Chelsea fans know that times have changed. I mean, the old regime of Under Roman, where we sort of stack managers so quickly. Yes, the Bowley era has been the most. It's been so chaotic with the fighting of
Chaotic.
Tuchel, and obviously what's the guy with Graham Potter and then Frank Lampard, that mess. But I don't think that's the pattern that he wants to have. I think they knew they got it wrong with Potter and then tried to fix it immediately, which is fine. I can live with that. I don't think we're at a place anymore where we can sort of just boom, boom, fire, higher, fire, higher, fire. One, I don't think there's as many as coaches that we think that is out there. Yeah, we can find some, but unless we go back to like an Ancelotti or see Mourinho's in a job. So I'd rather actually, if Todd Bowley keeps saying we want to have a team of 20-year-olds, youngsters, then let's keep the manager in there, because you know what it is with Klopp. It wasn't pretty at the beginning. And it's like with
No,
Arsenal,
what?
the job Arteta's done now, it wasn't pretty in the beginning. So I'd rather give the benefit of the doubt and just wait. But that's where I am, where I'm waiting now. I'm patient, as in, like, okay, it's frustrating. This is probably one of the most frustrating Chelsea's, because I can see the potential. I can see how good we can be, but then I can see, like, the games we throw away because we just can't we just can't score goals. If we could just, we got the most big missed chances in the league. We score
In the
half
frame.
that, it's a different season. So, like, that's my thing. Was like, I'd rather just wait and see. Todd Bowley says he's building a project, so I'm actually taking on his word. That's why I back Poch. I've always been a Poch fan, because my thing is, I'm worried, like, someone like Poch leaves and goes like Man United, and he fixes them, and you're like, oh yeah, we had him, but now we got Jose Mourinho's back again because we wanted a quick fix, but we're actually back in the same boat.
No, mate, I hear you, and I actually back it. And as seriously, if I was a Chelsea supporter, I'd also want Poch to hang about a little bit, build his project, and yeah, let's see where it ends up. But Cooks, matey, a couple of interesting things just to finish off a little bit that I just want to mention. Wandisile Similani joining the Stormers, Owen Farrell
Oof.
leaving his boyhood club, going to Racing. Just quickly touching base on that, thoughts around that, mate. Obviously, Similani, really appreciate the boy and really backing Dobbo to get the best out of this kid, man. So much potential.
Also, don't forget, Emmanuel Chizuka going to Sharks, Jordan Henderson going to the Sharks. Big transfer. I
You'll
mean,
make it
big,
so
big, big
much.
movements that's happened the last few weeks. Yeah, I think for Milan, I think obviously it was tough spell of the Bulls. But yeah, I think we've seen the work Dobbo does in resurrecting of his careers, and I think the culture
Yeah,
of the Stormers would definitely suit Milan. I think it's a great place to sort of go when you sort of almost trying to rebuild your career, and sort of the brand of rugby they play will suit him, and you'll get opportunities, because also the Stormers are competing in URC Currie Cup starting soon, and Champions Cup front. So they will need it's good quality depth they've created, especially in that center position. I think that's something as a position this season that sort of really hurt them, because there's times where Dan du Plessis has been injured, but now so on the weekend Dan du Plessis played 13 and he's more of a 12. So the center for them has been hard. Now Rowan Nels out for quite a bit, so center has been a big position, because that's where one of the few positions where they've chopped and changed the most, 12 and 13,
yeah.
because of when Hudson-Berg is back now. So again, it's still good quality to have. I mean, if your centers are Rowanel, Suleiman Hudson-Berg, and Similane, that's good to have. Someone like Dan du Plessis can play there as well. Ben Loader sort of play games there. So at least they do have cover, but now they're getting good quality cover, and I think for Similane it's going to be a great move. But My thing is, listen, I want to
And
ask
Cooks
you.
and mate, and I just quickly want to say, mate, and he's with one of his close mates. Probably, arguably, and this is just my opinion, one of the better rugby players on the planet right now, mate. Hachiva, seriously, Cooks, that guy. Excuse the pun, mate. He's cooking. Like, I got to see him live in action, mate. I can't tell you how much I respect Hachiva, and I know he's going to take Similane under his wing, but just to have that, we'll touch base with Achiever. Actually, he's going to be one of our guests soon, so we can ask him. We can ask him everything we want. But I'm just happy that Similani's got that big brother, and that's the point that I'm getting at. Just that big brother. I don't know what it was like at the Bulls. I really don't, but I just know for a fact, being involved with the culture at the Stormers, understanding it, understanding Dobbo, his philosophy about what builds a winning team, what brings out confidence in the player. Mate, I'd wish Wandisile nowhere else but to be at the Stormers.
Yeah, me too. I think it's gonna be a great move for him. But you look at other. What do you think now? The Sharks one is a tricky one because now it's you got Henderson, you got Bosch, Masuku, you've got Bullet Chamberlain, Lionel Cronier is there now. You're not gonna have five files. You know, one or two's got to go. I mean, there's rumors about Butcher going to the Bulls. Going on Twitter. What's gonna happen with Cohen? I mean, it's an interesting time because obviously, yeah, they need a 10. I mean, the 10 is a big clutching point. Obviously, Cohen's obviously started now, but having 5 10 is not ideal for anyone. So it's gonna be interesting what happens there. Um, but lastly, Faz obviously is going to England. Yes, like I never thought would see so many tens move. The two tens I didn't think I'd see were probably Faz. I thought Hendricks. I know that there was links between before going to the Sharks, but I thought maybe you end up staying. I think obviously the Nahamba thing at 10, he came and cooked. But which which fluff move for you is the bigger one, the Faz one to racing or Hendricks going down to the Sharks to join his brother?
Mate, I really thought that Faz was going to be a one club player. I had this conversation the other day. I was fortunate enough to go watch Scurra's 100th at the stadium, and we were trying to work out, and maybe you can help me because we were trying to talk about how many, specifically in rugby, how many one club players have there been? So Scurra, Faz, not
Mm.
anymore, but at the time, Faz, Mario Toge, um, Richie.
So
Did Richie stay at the Crusaders? Richie McCaw? Did he play anywhere else?
yeah, no, no, yes, yeah, he was one club. He didn't play anywhere else.
Can you
He
think of
didn't play in
anybody
Japan.
else?
That's a
No, he
great
didn't,
question.
mate. He stayed. So it's a great question. And
Mm.
I said to Scurra, I was like, Scurra's been happy at the Stormers, and he said, "Who do you think's going to be a one club man?" And I literally turned around and I said, "I think Owen Farrell." I legitimately thought it was going to be Owen Farrell. So to answer your question, I think that's a bigger shock. I do understand it, mate. He's 32. He has led England for many years. He's the leading point scorer. However, mate, Racing is, without nitpicking, mate, Racing is Real Madrid of rugby. You know you're getting you're getting the best of the best players. Basically, Racing is the Toulon
It's
of
hard.
10 years ago.
It's hard to call the Real Madrid rugby. I said slightly more the PSG because they don't win as much as they should. You know what I mean? So
Right. And
I'll say the PSG. But I do. I mean, you look at it. I saw a list. They said they lost. They've gone from so it's like the last couple tens now. It's the Sun Farrell. Then they went Finn Russell. Finn Russell replaced Dan Carter. Dan Carter, Lambie was there at Tennis Day. Then they had Sexton for a bit. Then there was
Yeah.
Jean Martin Hernandez. Then Andrew Mertens. That's the run of class they've had in that run. So they're producing
Yeah.
tens, but they've only produced one. During all those tens, one top 14 title.
Yeah. No,
So
mate,
I
I
think
hear you. PSG is the
if
right analogy
if
of that.
if I said if there's any sort of ten to bring in, if you want to win, this isn't again my biggest theory and sort of what if Owen Farrell was African, you'd probably be the most loved Springbok. If you know
Yeah.
he is a winner. I mean, Oaks is leaving Saracens a 6-time Premiership winner, 3-time European Cup winner.
Yeah.
You say as a top scorer, I mean, England top scorer, decorated career. I think he's the perfect 10 for someone for a club like Racing to sort of bring in. You're bringing in also the leadership. Now you got the Springbok captain, the former England captain in that same mix. You're
Stability
looking for
as well.
stability at 10, who's going to be solid, who's going to not let you down in the playoffs. So that's sort of you need. But 10 like that is sort of the kamikaze and the wildness that is racing can be. You need more. You've added another calm head into the room. You've added another experienced head into the room. Someone who I think for someone like Owen Farrell, I saw a great tweet about it, but so true. It could be the same thing that happened with Johnny Wilkinson when he went to Toulon. Just rejuvenate
Agreed.
someone's career, something new, away from that mess of English media. Go to France, new culture, something new. Not even captain, learn a new language, playing with players you've played against for so long, playing with us of Sia Kolisi, Trevor Nyakane, Gail Fiku, guys who are
Yeah.
stalwarts in the national sides. You're going to spend 2 years playing with those guys. I think for him, it's a perfect time to move. He's given English rugby everything he has. So I think maybe this year is his swan song, because obviously he's not playing Six Nations. So I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe go and play against Australia and then, yeah, and go, listen, guys, unless he's still seeing a chance to, go on holiday with his dad to Australia in 2 years' time.
No, mate, and you're so right. And just to just to talk about when you asked which fluff move was bigger, mate, I genuinely say this as a rugby coach. I think the Sharks are going about it in a very, very tricky situation because even though I think Kerwin needs a change, mate. Kerwin needs a change. Sharks guys need to hear this. He needs to go to Japan. He needs to just pretty much enjoy his rugby because, mate, that guy is getting pounded left, right, and center. Cooks, it almost looks from the outside that he's actually not even enjoying his rugby here. He's under so much pressure. But now this is what I want to say. As a fluff, would I be enjoying my rugby if the Sharks pack is struggling the way the Sharks pack is struggling? No, I wouldn't. So in terms of transfers and things that needs to happen at the Sharks, they need to get their balance right in the pack, mate. And there's a current imbalance that they just need to sort out. So by bringing in an extra couple of backs, I just sit here and I'm like, man, are you going about it in the right
Mm.
way? There's something a little bit more fundamentally wrong, especially in South Africa. Mate, if you don't have a pack, it's tickets for you, unfortunately. But yeah, Cooks, we just going to have to see how that plays out. Mate, Sharks, Lions, Bulls this weekend. Quick fire take. Thoughts on that? One URC game, I
Uh,
think second place. It's there.
yeah, it's huge. Yeah, I think for the Lions, I think because obviously the Lions in a great run of rugby. Maybe yesterday went down in the Champions Cup, but URC was they've been in great form with that first win in Durban after for a very long time. You got to see young money, cash money, obviously in tears.
Yes, sir.
Um, the Bulls juggernaut is too strong. Yeah, I think the Bulls are just they've been rambling. They've been rambling on and on in the holidays. The Bulls can beat everyone except for the Stormers. That's the only kryptonite is the Stormers. I mean, they are dominant against everyone until Dub and the boys come into town. But I can't see that the Lions could pull upset, but I think the Bulls will be sort of too strong. But I mean, we'll dive deep into that on Thursday as we do our
We
preview.
will.
But
We will.
say that before we go, biggest transfer, Joe Schmidt going to the Wallabies. That is so big because as a coach, I think the Wallabies job is one of the most exciting jobs in rugby in terms of they are at rock bottom. The rugby is a bit of a
Yes.
mess. You sort of,
Yes.
I was like, it reminded me sort of a little, like a very little similar version of like when Russia took over the Springboks, where it's a mess. So you have whatever you need, you've got it. Whatever resource you want to bring it. Whatever, because it can't get any worse. So I look at Australian rugby is they're at rock bottom. Rugby's a mess. The league's a mess. I was like, who are they going to get to come and help fix this? This is not like, you don't need someone like a Dan McKellar, who I think is a fantastic coach who job done at the Brumbies and
Yes.
at Leicester, sort of to start off like that. I was like, someone like Joe Schmidt is perfect. You come in there, experienced, been with Ireland, got
Done
number one in
well.
the world,
Won wherever. He's won everywhere.
came
He's also been
came and
mate.
Can't mention. One domestically for me, a fantastic record is domestically. Comes back, joins the All Blacks, turns everything around to at least to get them to a final. So I'm like, that's the perfect guy to get who experience knows gonna get the right guys and also enough pull to get guys out of their clubs. It was like talking Joe Schmidt. Say, I'm out of here. And I think he can do a fantastic job. I think it's such a great pickup from the wallet. I was like, oh, these oaks, if they get this wrong, their rugby can actually go even worse. Because I mean, they still got the Lions tour and the home World Cup, so that is a huge, 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 huge pickup for the Wallabies. And we know that last year they made 95 bad decisions in a row from Frank Dever and Eddie Jones. Last year was a shit show, and now now they've managed to sort of turn a corner. And I think this is the perfect spot. Oh, man, Josh Winters. I'm actually annoyed how good.
This what mate it's like just confuses me, mate, a little bit what with like how the hierarchy there in Australia is thinking a little bit. We knew that when Eddie Jones signed his deal, we knew it wasn't going to be a match. I don't know. We just had this feeling. I don't know, mate. I had this feeling that he's just left one spot, then he's just picked up the next job, and it's there. And you like just look and you like, this is why Australia's in the shithole that it's in. And then all of a sudden, something's happened now where they've sat together and they're like, who's next man up? If we can't get Rassie Erasmus, who's next man up? And it's probably him to bring in Joe Smith. So yeah, mate, big ups to those guys. But yeah, it's good for us. It's good. We need Australia competitive, mate. As rugby lovers, we need it. So
100%.
big ups to those guys, mate. Big ups to those guys. Cooks, mate, thank you so much again for your time. Always a pleasure. Mate, this is the funny thing, we didn't even touch on NFL. And I mean, I know you and I could be for the
No, I'll
next
get back.
half hour. But we'll touch base a little bit on the NFL, what's happened this past weekend and what's coming this coming weekend on Thursday.
No, sounds good. Can't wait. We're back on the road, eh? Back on the road.
Yes, sir. Cooks, thank you for your time, mate. Have a great day.
Yes, guys.
Ciao, boys.